and Mahomes at bay.
The Tampa Bay Bucs, Super Bowl 55.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Bucs Banter podcast. I am your host, Colin Hallboom, and I am joined, as I most often am, by my illustrious co-hosts, Bo Danyard and Scott Capron. We are bringing you a Friday special, a Bucs with that $sign, Bucs Banter, weekly best bets. We're talking week 3 NFL bets here tonight. That is our sole focus. Scott, Bo, how are we doing, fellas?
I'm feeling good, man. I love seeing you guys on Monday, but there's nothing like Friday just talking betting. So let's get after it.
Oh yeah, this is the best. Little Friday, couple drinks, couple insane lines to talk about, and yeah, let's get to it, man.
Yeah, so Cap wasn't here for our first weekly best bets episode of the year last week because he was bringing a human being into this world. Congratulations again, Mr. Capron.
Thank you. Yeah, I did most of the work. So
yeah, and so what we're gonna do, and just for anyone who doesn't know, Scott Capron, who we call Cap, he is our resident capper. He's our handicapper. The name is real though, Capron, so it really works quite nicely. But I'm just gonna preface this by saying Scott is all about Scott. Why don't you tell us about your betting philosophy? Because you might not have many plays to offer tonight, but you have a certain philosophy that I've adopted in terms of how it relates to pregame lines and all that stuff.
Well, Colin, with the the advancement in gambling technology over the last 10 years or so, with just everything they offer with regards to in-play betting has just always spoke to me. It's obviously we do it more with basketball because there's even more violent runs and swings, and it's easier to find more value in a game, but it's still there in football. It's still there in the NFL. Just for years, I was finding it super hard to put in the work and put in the time to actually handicap the games well enough to have a profitable season, which you can still do. But if you see how much value there is in a given game based on who scores first or anything like that, it's just to me, it's just become a way more efficient, way more profitable way to watch these games. And if you're watching these games on Sunday anyway, then that means you're locked in and you're going to be able to catch a line during a game, during a commercial break, or even if at halftime or something like that, right? So I'm almost predominantly an in-play better when it comes to both football and basketball, but we'll be able to take a look at these lines. There's a couple that I like, obviously, but I'll be able to pinpoint a couple spots that I would be looking for, to get some money down with the plus sign, on the side of your bet. So we'll talk about that a little bit tonight.
Yeah, and I like to call, when you say a spot, I like to call him Scott's spot. So if it's a game he's looking for, maybe it's a favorite where there's no point in playing them pregame. You just keep an eye on that line as it moves throughout the game, and you may get a chance to get him plus money just on the money line, which is the ultimate goal.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. Or, sometimes a book can hang a bad number and, you can just bet the spread as well, which is totally fine. But anyways, we'll get into some of those philosophies and some potential spots that I would be looking for a little bit later on.
Sounds good. So what we're going to do is we're just going to fire through each of the games. I'm going to read the line, and if any of us have any action on it, we'll talk on it. If not, we're just going to move on to the next game because, again, the focus of this show is just betting. So Arizona Cardinals -7.5 at the Jacksonville Jaguars. Any action here? I do not have any interest in this game personally.
Yeah, I've got nothing on it. There's not much in the player props either. DeAndre Hopkins is out, or is most likely out. So they haven't put up any player props for the Arizona Cardinals side. So yeah, I'm good on this game so far. Seems like a weird game, honestly.
How long do we think Hopkins is out for? Do we know?
I have no idea. It says it's a rib injury, so maybe it's
the
one
rib,
game,
right?
maybe it's 5.
Okay.
Who knows? Yeah.
I have nothing here. Almost any pro play would be getting the 7.5, getting that hook. I know the Jags have looked awful, but a home team getting over a touchdown is generally what you would look to. Especially without Hopkins, I would actually look at the Jags as well. Not anything I'm running to bet, but that's where I would lean. But not giving that out as a pick. Not going to do anything my own or anything with it on my own. But here's a spot where if somehow under a miracle the players haven't killed Urban Meyer before the start of the game and Jacksonville goes down and scores a touchdown, the Cardinals might move to only like -3.5 or something like that with the whole game or with a lot of the game left. So as far as a potential spot, I would rather see maybe watch a couple series of this game, see how Arizona looks without Hopkins, see if Lawrence looks any better in his third game, and get more of a barometer on what's happening after that.
Sounds good. Atlanta Falcons are traveling to the Meadowlands. They're going to play the New York Giants, who are favored at home -2.5. And for myself, I'm going to ride the Kyle Pitts train. I've bet Kyle Pitts over receiving yards each game of the 2 games so far. He missed week 1. He hit it week 2. I'm expecting the trajectory of Kyle Pitts to just continue to ascend. With that number at 52.5, it's actually now moved up to 53.5. But anyway, I took it at 52.5, -110. I like that. I'm just betting on the player here and them getting him involved. He should have a bigger target share as he's more familiar with the offense. We'll see if that O-line can hold up.
Plus Atlanta sucks and they're almost guaranteed to be behind, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
So,
that didn't benefit them week 1, but that was just such a tire fire that we're going to write that off in terms of why Pitts and Ridley weren't involved.
Yeah.
But is what it is.
So what was it? 53.5? Boom. Sorry.
I got it at 52.5. It's now 53.5, and Vegas is taking a little bit of juice. I got it at -110, which I'm very happy with. I'm finding that
That's awesome.
I'm finding a lot of the player props this year are coming out, at least this point of the year. They're giving you that -110 compared to last year. I don't remember it quite being so generous. So I'm feeling good about that.
I'm actually, I don't know, but I'm actually going to hop on that. I like it as well. I like the Giants -2.5. That's going to be a play for me. It opened at 3, which means that, a lot of money has to come in on Atlanta to get it to that 2.5 number, but I'm okay with being on the opposite side of where the money is in order to get that 2.5 number for the Giants. I think the Falcons are bad. I think the Giants easily could have won that game against Washington, who is a team definitely with a pulse. I think Atlanta's really bad. 2.5. This is a play. This is a play for me this week.
There we go. Okay. Bo, are you on this game at all? I got one more player prop, but I don't know if you're not. I can get to that unless you have something you want to share about the pick take or.
Oh, go ahead. Oh, no. Yeah. I've got Sterling Shepard over 5.5 receptions. He's hammered that every game so far. So 10 targets in his first week, 9 targets last week against, or 9 targets on this first week against Denver, 10 targets against the Washington football team. Has 7 receptions and 9 receptions respectively in each one of those games. Last game I got him pretty early on as well, and he crushed it within like the first half, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, 6 catches for Sterling Shepard. It's paying +130 for me. I think it's down to +120, but it's still alive.
And what's interesting? Like the initial thought might be, that was without Kenny Golladay. But Kenny Golladay, if anything, you could argue opens things up for Sterling Shepard, which we saw last week. Even though Golladay didn't have a huge day, he just presents that vertical threat, which makes Sterling Shepard that much more appealing, around the middle of the field. So don't hate it.
And just to stay on the Red Rover, we're going to bet the over train. I'm looking at Daniel Jones, 26.5 yards on the ground. The guy can run. He is legitimately fast. And, hey, he's not afraid to take off. He's obviously been more conscious trying to stay in the pocket and make plays, but he can get out there. 26.5. I'm going to fire on that one as well. Oh, great. Now I have to watch Giants Falcons. Thanks, guys.
And yeah, Bo, I like that you're riding the Sterling Shepard thing. Like if a guy's going to win you 2 weeks in a row, you almost feel like you owe it to him to let it ride till he proves it otherwise. And I'm also on Saquon over 61.5. And this is simply a matter of me thinking he's just hasn't been quite right. He's still working into it. I think this could be the week that he really pops.
I don't know how you can watch him and take over anything.
Yeah, well, I'm doing it.
No, I know. I'm saying I don't know how. Like he's He is not right, man, and that's fair. He has a coming back from a catastrophic injury. They are
2-year injury.
The teams are still respecting him as if he's one of the best running backs in the league. He's not right now, and I know 61.5 is a pretty, spicy number, juicy number for a guy who we all absolutely love. But yeah, I don't know. You know what? The truth is, I've had him in fantasy for 3 years, and he's just burning me. He's just been burning me with injuries and like never scoring a touchdown. So I'm a little bit jaded that way. But yeah, all right, Boom. All right,
Hey man, that's fair. I get it. I think the line being 60, I think there's a reason for it being 60. I think people are still. I think it's going to happen this week. So we'll see. Right? They're playing the Falcons. You like the Giants in the game. I think if he's not producing anything on the run game, then I don't think that the Giants are going to win the game. Personally.
Yeah, that's fair. That's but he hasn't, and he didn't. But yeah, I guess they haven't won yet either. So there you go. Yeah, man. Hey, like what? So quick question, just because Saquon's fascinating. What number would it have to be for you to not like the over?
I mean, probably 70-ish. I don't know. Like I wouldn't have bet the over. Like I just like that it was in the 60s. Like I think it's super attainable. I thought he actually looked much better in week 2 than he did in week 1. So I'm expecting him to look even better in week 3. That's really my rationale. So
fair enough. Hey, fair enough. I'm just trying to bat it around here, see what's going on.
I welcome it. Teresa Baxter, share, comment, and like the show. Appreciate that, Teresa. Appreciate your support. Constant here on Bucs Report. Ryan G comes in on YouTube and he wants to know Jacoby Myers over 4.5 catches at plus 127. I don't actually I don't know. I don't have Jacoby Myers, what he's done so far. Let's have a look. not exactly a guy I've had my eye on.
That's a pretty specific pretty specific bet here.
Yeah, I don't know. Like Jacoby Myers for the Pats, we'll probably get to the Pats. I don't know if anybody has any action on that game. It's just like I've seen Mac Jones. He just kind of spreads the ball around, so I just don't trust him to get it to Jacoby Myers. I feel like you're going to be sweating that bet all game. So
yeah, I like the price. I definitely like the plus 127, but that's a pass for me.
DJ King on Twitch says, is this a family show or can we say what we want in the chat? Definitely more of a family show. So would appreciate a little bit of discretion. Maybe use code words if you need to get a point across with a little extra vigor. That would
appreciate you asking.
Definitely appreciate you asking.
Appreciate you asking.
I didn't even know anyone was around on Twitch. Right on. I guess we're there. Carrie Koo says hello, Carrie. Nice to see you. Thanks for being here. Let's roll along. I'm just going to name 3 games in a row here. I don't have action on any of them, so you guys go back and tell me if you want one of these 3. We got the Ravens minus 7.5 at the Lions, the Bears at the Browns, who they're favored at home minus 7.5.
I'll jump in.
Yep.
Tag me in. I got Allen Robinson, 59.5 yards receiving at minus 110 and 4.5 receptions, hitting the over on both of those.
I like it, Bo. Those are low, man.
Those are very low for number 1 receiver with the rookie quarterback on his first start. It's something I'm hammering all year. Bad quarterbacks and rookie quarterbacks, just eyes are locked on their number 1 on that X receiver. So I'm going all in. I think Fields may have a big day. I think the Browns defense isn't exactly what we thought they'd be, but that's where the action is for me.
Yeah, I can't argue that. I mean, I got burned on Allen Robinson during the playoffs last year, which was frustrating. So and I know he's gotten off to a slow start, but I love betting on proven guys who have started the year slow. I'm a big fan of that. It's going to happen if you trust the player eventually.
If you parlay those 2, you get them at plus 137. So it's a nice bet.
Nice.
Right on. Allen Robinson has 5 catches. He's going over 60 yards.
Totally. I understand pairing the 2 as well. It often makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Bengals at the Steelers. Steelers are minus 3 at Heinz Field. Bengals coming off a tough, frustrating loss. I was on the Bengals last week. They pushed, but very frustrating. Anyway, do they bounce back in Pittsburgh? Do you guys have any action on this, or should we move along?
No, I'm good.
I don't. kind of a weird spot game for me. I would lump this in with Baltimore and Detroit, just something I don't really want to have action on. Like I would, if I was going to do anything, I would maybe sprinkle a little bit on the Bengals plus the 3, because I think Pittsburgh's bad, or at least the offense is going to really struggle with Roethlisberger back there.
And
So
he's hurt right now.
He's
They were
hurt.
saying
You might get
Yeah.
Dwayne Haskins too.
Oh, geez. So
He's
yeah, honestly, I don't even know. Well, I mean, I guess it can't be an upgrade, but Roethlisberger's looked bad. I thought Cincinnati showed some guts scoring the 2 touchdowns last week to at least make it respectable. But they were kind of never in that game. Makes me think that it's a bit of a bounce back game, but I don't know. Just Pittsburgh owns Cincinnati. Line is kind of curiously low. That's a stay away from me.
Agreed. And then we got the Colts at the Titans. Titans are minus 5.5. Derrick Henry made himself known this past week, rushing for 1,100 yards in the game or whatever it was. So they're favored by 5.5. Sounds like, I don't know what the deal is. Today it comes out Wentz might actually be playing on his dually sprained ankles. But initially I was hearing it was going to be like a Jacob Eason, and I forget who their other quarterback there is.
We don't need to know the other quarterback.
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah. Anyway.
Jacob Eason was enough.
Yeah. Are you guys on this at all, or?
No, I'm staying away from this. It's a really weird game because the Titans steal one in Seattle, favored by 5.5. It's just, I have a weird feeling about this game, even if Wentz isn't playing. If I was going to lean anywhere, it'd be the Titans, but yeah.
Yeah, gun to my head, I'd ride with the Titans as well, but I don't have a gun to my head, so won't be doing either.
So that's a good Friday.
Yeah,
I would
so
say,
far.
just in general, right? Like that's a win. Yeah, no thanks. If you're in an office pool or something, I would actually lean Tennessee at that number. Anything under a touchdown with them at home versus just a weird Colts team. I think just weird. I would look at Tennessee, but no thanks.
And next up, we got the Chargers traveling to KC in what is a potential game of the week. I mean, I think Bucs Rams takes that title, but I'm really looking forward to this one. I'm super glad it's during the 1 o'clock slate, and then we got Bucs Rams at 4 Eastern time. Chiefs are favored by 7 at Arrowhead. Really interesting game, man. Like, I'm super curious. This line is interesting too, right at a touchdown. What are you guys seeing here? Are you on it at all or no?
I'm not on it. No.
It was 6.5 earlier in the week, and I didn't hop on it. It's climbed up to 7 now, which is, I guess, to be expected because Kansas City's always going to be bet. I'm going to stay away.
This is one you're watching the end game pretty closely, right?
Yeah, this would be one. So, I mean, for anyone listening, yeah, the Chiefs are like the Durant, Curry, Clay Warriors a few years ago, where a deficit just really doesn't mean that much because they can, they can score in bunches. So this would be one where I'd be hoping the Chargers maybe hop out to a 10-0 lead and then bet the Chiefs. One player prop that I do like is the under on Clyde Edwards-Helaire, 57.5. Not
57.5 rushing, or
Clyde Edwards-Helaire, 57.5 rushing yards. Yeah, I would take the under. I think they're going to be throwing the ball a ton. Division game with Mahomes trying to put up points. Yeah, I just don't see it with them, with Edwards-Helaire. Yeah, okay, I'll give it out. All right, I'm going to give that one out. Sure, why not? Edwards-Helaire under 57.5.
I snuck a quick snake bet on you, Boom, for Clyde Edwards-Helaire under 2.5 receptions last week, I think, when they were playing the Ravens, which was pretty profitable. I don't think he even got a target. But yeah, maybe the under on something with Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Everybody seems to be jumping off that train right now. Also, I think Tyreek Hill is due for a big game. He's obviously seen like more double teams than he's seen ever this far into a season. So I just feel like at some point he's going to go off, and I kind of want to cash in on it. So I'll be watching that on the end game.
Nice. Yeah. The beauty, again, Scott talked about modern betting practices. I mean, it's not just about in-game betting the money line or the spread, but literally there are countless player props that are moving throughout the game. And you can in-game a lot of them. So, if you're not sure, if it's not quite where you want it to be, you can wait, watch a couple drives. And if that player you're considering betting the over, for example, which is all I do is bet overs, he can, if he has a quiet start, then you can get that number reduced far, far more than what it was to begin with. So it's always a good approach that way. I'm actually going to take a stab at Eckler over 5.5 receptions. He had 9 last week. He's known as a pass catcher. I think both teams are going to be passing the ball a ton. That's plus 120. So I think it's down to 4.5, but at like minus 135. So I prefer to bet on him getting 6 receptions at plus 120. Chiefs.
Hey, does the under option even show up on your screen?
No.
Like,
no,
do you don't even, it does,
No.
they just know? They don't
Well,
not even to put it up anymore? Oh, okay. I was just curious.
You see, if you'd ever looked at a player prop, you'd realize there are like thousands every Sunday. So why would I choose to bet the under unless it like screams at me? I prefer to bet on the players I like to do well. It's just my philosophy, Scott.
That's good.
There's investors like this too, right? In the stock market who just play a bear market the whole time, just keep on trying to short stocks and only play shorts on every company. It doesn't mean that they don't think there's going to be good companies. It's just the thing that they are good at. So exactly. I'm with you, man.
Thank you.
I've adopted the over philosophy, and it just like cuts down the noise of being like, is it going to go over? Is it going to go under? No, I'm only looking for overs.
Love it. Thank you, Bodan. Nice to have some support from Scotch Bonnet.
Well, I mean, all the value almost every single time is on the under because everyone that just bets casually is saying exactly what you guys just said. But, fair enough.
Yeah,
that's fine. I get it. It's more fun. I'm just saying.
Well, yeah, but like that's one thing, but it was also extremely profitable last year, the same approach. So, I mean, how can I argue with that? Like, why would I mix it up then,
And it's not like we're betting the over on Tyreek Hill every week. We're betting the over on guys who we think are going to have a good matchup or are going to look favorable in the game plan.
Exactly.
Like, I'm only betting Sterling Shepard because I know Daniel Jones only looks at Sterling Shepard at the start of the game. So.
Oh yeah, I mean, like individually, I don't think any of those are bad or anything like that. That's not what I mean. I just mean philosophically, or from there's value in the unders as well. Just saying, not to be like hipster under. Or like, the guy at the start of a golf tournament who bets the no hole in one bet. Like, trust me, I know it's not as fun. I'm just saying there's value in the unders as well. That's all.
Thanks for opening our eyes to that. But yeah, if I could finish my Eckler over 5.5 receptions, which is a lot, but for a running back, that's what Eckler does. That's his greatest skill. Chiefs D has given up 36 points to the Ravens. They gave up 29 to the Browns the week before that. So anyway, that's just a lot.
They also can't cover anyone.
They can't cover anyone.
Tackle anyone.
Their D looks terrible, and the Chargers, like Herbert and this offense, like they are managing to get like double-digit targets to 3 different players already. Like, there's no reason that won't continue in a high tempo game against the Chiefs. If anything, I think those targets are going to continue for Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, and then Eckler. So
especially Mike Williams is one that I've texted you about earlier. Is a guy that I have circled, so I'll be watching the end game on that one as well.
That game is going to be awesome. Like,
it has to be.
I can't wait to watch. Like, that's going to be fun. Unders are boring.
Shout out my guy.
Tell him, Johnny
Professor.
Dean.
Oh my God. I'm not even going to dignify that. That's fine.
So then I got the Saints. I'm just reading the line. The New Orleans Saints, the tumultuous, unpredictable New Orleans Saints, are traveling to Foxborough, where the Patriots are favored at home by under a field goal, -2.5. I got no action here. Really no interest at all in this game from a betting perspective.
Nothing.
Okay.
I got a good one for you guys, and you can't get on it anymore, but Alvin Kamara had a horrible game last game. And I can just see Sean Payton saying, okay, I got to get him involved. 4.5 receptions, over 4.5 receptions for Alvin Kamara. Last year, that was one of our bread and butter guys. It was at plus 130. It's been bet down to minus 110. So
still at 4.5?
Yeah, still at 4.5, but minus 110 now.
Wow,
You know?
yeah. That after I could see them getting him trying to really feed him the ball early. That's one where he could have 3 catches on the first series.
Easy.
Like
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I've seen him have.
I like
Five, I've,
I
I've seen
like
him at. I've seen him in a 2-minute drill have 5 receptions on a drive.
Yeah.
yeah.
But again, that was with Drew Brees, and I'm still in terms of Kamara. Bo, you mentioned it. Like he's one of the guys who we initially just started just riding. Like,
Sure.
him, Kelsey, Stephon Diggs, like those are the guys we were just riding. But since the quarterback change, I just need to see it happen a couple times before I'm going to do it because I did get burned when that quarterback switch happened last year.
Plus 130 was just too juicy, though, man. I had to jump on that.
You're
I'm
betting
glad
on
I
talent,
did now.
and you're betting on a talent like Kamara, man. I'm all for it.
Plus 130 is incredible value for 4.5 catches for Kamara. Like really, I think minus 110. Well, I mean, obviously that's standard. That's fine. But you would you could easily see you'll see games later this year for sure if Kamara's at 4.5 and it's juiced to like minus 135. So
exactly.
that's good value, Bo, for sure. For sure. I hate that game. No idea what's going to happen in that game. Couldn't want to watch it or bet on it less.
Yeah, I'd prefer to watch the Jameis highlights after because it's going to be really good or really bad. It's just a guarantee it'll be one of those two things. As so many of the Buccaneers fans who are surely in here know all too well. I will say though, I want to send out a public service announcement to all Buccaneers fans because I'm in quite a few of these like groups on various social media channels. Let's move on from Jameis. Let's not every time he has a bad game send out all these memes and go crazy. Like get over it. Tom Brady's our quarterback. Move on. Stop bothering yourselves with whatever Jameis Winston has done, good or bad. Like I'm just like supporting the guy. I hope he has a good career. Like whatever. He tried his best for us. Let's move on. Okay? No more Jameis talk.
Love it. Amen, my friend. Good for you.
Had enough.
Very classy. Very classy.
Yeah.
Had enough of it. Next game, I got 2 player props in play. Shocker, Scott, they're both overs. I'm talking about the Washington football team traveling to Orchard Park to take on Bills Mafia and the Buffalo Bills, who are favored
over 78.5 points for Washington. I just think that's pretty good. That's a fun one to root for. I'm just kidding.
Hey, Scott, it's plus 10,000. So you got to bet it.
There you go.
You can see 8 pick sixes from Allen. The defense, too. Yeah, there we go.
So I'm going with a guy I just mentioned who is one of me and Bo's ride or dies last year. I haven't bet him yet this year, and thankfully so because he's gone under both weeks, and I think this is the week he's going to do it. That's Stephon Diggs, over 78.5 receiving yards, led the NFL in receiving yards and receptions. I believe maybe not receptions, but at least yards last year. I feel really good about him exceeding 78.5. So I'm riding with that myself. And on the other side of the ball, I'm going to ride Antonio Gibson over 60.5 rushing yards. Bo, I know you're an Antonio Gibson guy. I've never actually bet on him before. But 60.5 yards, both these bets, by the way, are minus 110. 60.5 yards, like he is their dog. He is their workhorse. He had 90 yards rushing game 1, 69 yards rushing his second game. And I think he's going to have a good day for them to be successful. And even if they're not, he's going to be a huge part of their game plan. So I'm going to take the over on a very modest 60.5 yards for Antonio Gibson.
The only thing I'll say about that is that the Bills seem to be putting it together on defense, at least from a running defense side of the ball. But I love that. I love that too. I love this Stephon Diggs play. I'm on him 6.5 receptions. So betting on him to have 7 receptions. If he has 78 yards, I think he's going to have 7 receptions at least. And then I'm also on Josh Allen and Devin Singletary. Devin Singletary's at 49.5 yards rushing. I think he's been their best back. I think you're really seeing Zach Moss is going to be that secondary guy. Zach Moss had a good game last game against probably a demoralized Dolphins team, but I think Devin Singletary is still going to be the feature back there, and they've got a kind of a clear hierarchy for that backfield now. And then Josh Allen, 36.5 yards rushing, minus 105 on that. I really like Josh Allen. I think one of the better running quarterbacks in the league right now. And then also Daniel Jones lit them up for like 96 yards, lit up the Washington football team for 96 yards in their last game. So I like the idea of Josh Allen seeing things break down and just taking it for himself. So yeah, those are the 3 that I'm on.
Well, that's so fun. Just with all those yards, sorry, just, bringing back the Giants-Falcons game. you would think the line that 26.5 for Jones rushing would be higher, just based on them seeing that, people would just look at the box score from last week and then they'd have to put a line. But anyways, yeah, those are okay. That sounds good, boys. I bet the Washington football team, can they just come up with a name already? Like, come on. Anyway, it opened at +8.5 and it's down to +7 now. I got it at the 8.5 because just too high. Too many points, I think. I guess the market agrees. Who knows? Buffalo's dangerous. They could easily, they definitely could win the game by double digits, but +8.5 is a play for me. +7 is considerably different. Buyer beware on that one. I would lean towards it being a close game here, but unless if it pops back up to 7.5 between now and kick, then I would seriously consider Washington again. But 7, that's a no play for me.
My only criticism on that one, if you're going to bet the Washington football team, you got to really think about this being Taylor Heineke's first game on the road, basically. And he is, I don't know what you guys think about Taylor Heineke. Basically a rookie quarterback in my books, and you're going into probably one of the most volatile stadiums in the league.
What, Buffalo? They're a tame, relaxed crowd of learned individuals. That's totally fair. This was just, I think Washington's pretty good, and 8.5 is a ton of points. That was the extent of my of my reasoning. And
fair enough.
Yeah, I hear you. Hey, Buffalo could swallow him up. That's not at all out of the realm here. I just that's a ton of points in an NFL game, and I hopped on it. So.
And yeah, Bo, to answer your question, like Taylor Heineke is like pretty much Case Keenum to me. Like he's not a starter. Yeah. He's a solid backup, fills in admirably, but that's what I see like his ceiling being. I don't know how long lasting it is, but again, maybe that's why they're going to have to depend on the run quite a bit. So referring to my Antonio Gibson over. We'll see though, right? Like I'm giving the guy a shot for me. So I'll either be an Antonio Gibson fan or I won't.
Colin, any interest in that number, that game?
I like your philosophy. I like your philosophy there. I think it's a lot of points for like a really good defense like Washington, who hasn't put it all together yet, but they're also really capable on offense. Like, and Heineke is certainly good enough to get the ball to some of their playmakers, like Thomas and McLaurin is one of the best receivers in the league now. Like he's like a poor
He's awesome.
Diggs. He's phenomenal.
Awesome. Yeah, he really is. Yeah, and I thought even though the Bills beat the shit out of the Dolphins 35-0. Allen, I thought, still only looked okay. Certainly not near the level. I mean, it's only 2 weeks, and we saw what he could do for an extended period last year, so I'm not writing him off or anything like that. But he hasn't looked great. So, we'll see.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I like your philosophy, though, of like if it's over a touchdown, then it's worth playing. But I have no action on it.
Okay.
Dolphins at the Raiders. Raiders are -3.5. Bo, does that sigh indicate you have action or you do not?
That was Scott's sigh.
Dude, this is the quintessential NFL. Everything points towards one team and then it just doesn't happen game, right? Raiders with 2 great wins. Tua's out for the Dolphins. The Dolphins eked out a win against the Patriots and they got dismantled at home last week. It's only 3.5. The line is so fishy. The Raiders,
at home.
Raiders at home. If it's, I feel like the Dolphins win or the Raiders win, 31-13 or something like that, right? It just, as soon as I would, this is like the weird philosophical, or psychological. I would prefer if the Raiders were 5.5 or something. It'd be less of a fishy line, but It's nothing for me. No way. I just can't touch that one.
And the fishiness doesn't mean it's an automatic, okay, play the other side of it. It
of course.
If anything, it's more like stay away.
You don't need to.
It's a good point.
I don't get why the Raiders aren't favored by 6.5. Honestly.
They beat the Ravens and the Steelers.
Yeah, to me. And the Steelers on the road at that too. So
that game was never in doubt. If anything, they left points on the board and they won by 9. They're playing that, and that was a tough spot for them, man. They played the Monday Nighter, then they had to go to Pittsburgh, and I know I'm not high on on the Steelers, but
That
winning at
defense is no
Pittsburgh
joke.
is a great win, no matter what, basically, right? So for them to do that, come back, get a home game against a backup quarterback, even though I don't hate Brissett. Yeah, just beyond stanky. No thanks.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Speaking of stanky, we got the New York Jets. Zach Wilson coming off a 4-pick game, unfortunately, for him and the Jets. But anyway, they're traveling the mile high to play the Broncos, who are 10.5-point favorites. I was happy to win on Javonte Williams rushing yards last week at 45.5. That's bumped up to 55.5. I think he's going to continue to perform well, but I'm not betting it this week. I'm going to sit it out and see what happens.
Yeah, because if you bet it, then that means you have to watch the Jets and the Broncos, right? So kind of a opportunity
that's a
scenario.
box score watch. It's a box score. Yeah. You
that's
just
a 4 o'clock though, right? That's a 4 o'clock. So I'm pretty dialed in on another game at that point. So regardless. And then I assume you guys have nothing there, right?
I was looking at Javonte Williams' touches, but it's up for 12.5 rushing attempts as well too. So it's kind of one I'll be monitoring. If that drops before like 9.5, 8.5, something like that in the first half or something like that, I jump on that. But
and I'll be curious though, like to be watching that timeshare and see how those carries are distributed between him and Melvin Gordon. I almost feel like Melvin Gordon's been overperforming a little bit, which is allowing him to hang on to that timeshare. Ante takes off with it. He'll take off with it.
Sorry. Just quick sidebar. Speaking of timeshare running backs, watching the Thursday nighter last night, can someone explain to me why any NFL team would have Rex Burkhead, David Johnson, Mark Ingram, and oh God, there's another one who's the exact same, who's just like them on the team.
Did you say David Johnson?
David Johnson.
Oh, yeah, and Philip Lindsay as well.
And Philip Lindsay.
Philip Lindsay, yeah.
They're why?
Well, Cap,
what on earth?
Would you have preferred them to invest a first-round selection in a running back as opposed to the?
No, I would not have. But you can cut 2 of them. Get 2 to anybody else. You need those 4 guys? Are you kidding me?
It's ridiculous. It's been ridiculous since they did it in the offseason. If anything, it made me want to bet on them to be the worst record in the NFL, and they've already got a win though. So
they're God.
Good. Man, and they almost beat the Browns. They should have beat the Browns if Tyrod stayed in. They were playing really, really, really well with Tyrod. So I can't knock the Texans at all. They've already surpassed my expectations. So
Davis Mills' neck makes more sense than having those 4 guys on the same team. Honestly,
true.
Let me take a moment. Lots of good comments. We're trying to be pretty time efficient with this episode, so I'm not going to be able to get to them like I would like to during one of our normal Monday night Bucs Banter shows. But Bo, we got a question directly aimed for you from Johnny Dean. On Facebook. He says, Bo seems too young to remember the Bo Knows days. I want to know how he came up with Bo Knows Football as his alias.
Actually, my good friend and my co-host, Colin Halbin, came up with the idea of having that name. And I'm not too young to remember Bo Jackson. Bo Jackson, maybe I didn't see him play a ton, but I remember him as a Raider and on the Raiders. I remember him playing for Kansas City, I think, in baseball as well, too. And I remember that ad was like my favorite ad when I was a little kid because it was my first time I saw my name kind of on TV. So
And Bo, you were playing football when you were young.
I know. I've been meaning to talk to my parents about that because like if I end up with CTE, it's because they put me in football at like 7 years old.
Because Bo knows
friends. Concussion protocols.
Yeah. Bo and I were friends when we were like 7 years old. We met at a basketball camp, and I remember going to stay at your house and going to your football game. And I was like, as I think about it, I'm like, we were so young,
like tiny kids. Yeah,
and I know that's commonplace amongst all the Yankees in this viewing this podcast episode. But here in Canada, that's a little more rare. Back in the early 90s when that was taking place. So anyway, Bo is an enigma, but Bo knows he is an enigma. Seattle Seahawks -1.5 at the Minnesota Vikings. Minnesota Vikings are in must-win territory. We were discussing that offline. So they need a win. If they don't win, I'm feeling real good about my Mike Zimmer coach of the year, first coach to be canned bet. But anyway, So yeah, Seahawks are -1.5 on the road at Minnesota. Dalvin Cook's banged up. I don't know the status, what he's at. Maybe I'll check that right now while you guys let me know if you have any thoughts on this.
I think they're saying game time decision, but I'm not positive. Yeah, Zimmer coaching for his job. Like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if owner. I said this as a conspiracy theory in our group chat. Maybe they hold out Dalvin Cook and let another loss come in, get a better draft position, and get rid of Mike Zimmer as well at the same time.
God.
Scott, you got anything you want to say about this game or no?
I'm going to bet the Vikings.
Yeah.
One of the things I kind of like is a decent enough team in a basic must-win game early on. Do I think Minnesota's way better than Seattle? No, but I think Seattle's they're good, but they're okay. They're only okay. Minnesota, they lost in overtime and they missed a field goal to win the game against Arizona. Their first 2 weeks. They're not bad. And they're getting a point at home. I think you got to just say, win or 0-3. It's tough. It's tough to make the playoffs from 0-3. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So, Minnesota's a bet for me here. There's almost no way this isn't coming down to the last possession of the game with these two teams, right? Like something's going to be crazy. So you get the home team, you get 1.5 points. I'll take it and assume that Minnesota keeps their season on the rails.
Yeah, and I mean, if it's coming down to the wire, you might as well put your money on Kirk Cousins over Russell Wilson, right? So I can vouch for that philosophy.
I actually saw Traeger talking about this. They were in the same draft, right?
I hate that.
No, they're in the same draft, Russell Wilson and Kirk Cousins. And apparently Russell Wilson has just always bullied him. 6-0 in the regular season against Kirk Cousins, and also against the Vikings, who passed up on taking him, and then 1-0 in the postseason as well too. So Russ has never lost to the Vikings before. So
if he's the Kirk Cousins bully, should his nickname be like the Big Monday Nighter? Because Monday Night Football is also specifically a Kirk Cousins bully. He's like
exactly.
He was like 0-8. And Cap, I apologize for the shade. That's just a little revenge. I have trouble letting things go. Your Saquon shade was just boiling under my
Yeah,
skin.
no, for sure. It makes a ton of sense to get really mad when someone provides a logical argument. I get that. You're a father and teacher, so that makes sense.
Who's getting really mad here?
You literally just said boiling.
Oh, sorry. I was just trying to, paint a descriptive picture for our listeners.
Yeah, and you did, and they know that you're furious. So well done.
Yeah.
No, hey, and honestly, if someone was like Russell Wilson versus Kirk Cousins, I'm taking Russell Wilson. No, I have no logical argument against that. That's not like, this is more a thing that I look for with decent enough teams that kind of need to win early and they're at home. I'm just willing to go with it. And hey, I don't like Cousins that much. I think he's fine. I think he's not as polarizing a player as he kind of is portrayed as. Like, I think he's fine. But once again, if someone just wants to make a Wilson argument, so we're taking Seattle, hey, all the power to you. I get that. But I'm going to ride with the Vikes here.
Yeah, and I told you like offline that I sided with the Vikings when it was +2.5 anyway. So I'm really just trying to have some fun here, dude. Relax. Okay.
I'm boiling.
Yeah.
We're still doing the podcast on Monday, right? You guys are going to be good.
Yeah.
Hard to say.
Yeah, we'll see. When Scott needs some parenting advice and he comes crawling back, we'll have patched it up before Monday. That's my goal.
Well, when you hit these 72 overs all in 1 week, I mean, you're going to be living on an island by Monday, right? So we'll see that too.
8 player props. And anyway, here we are. Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They are now favored by 1.5 at the Los Angeles Rams. This is undoubtedly the game of the week at SoFi Stadium. Tom Brady's first time playing in LA. I got a few bets I like here. Shocker. I bet the Bucs. I bet the Bucs money line when they were +1.5. So anyway, I'm not surprised. It's not like I feel super encouraged. Obviously, the line I figure was going to move that way because the public's going to jump all over the Bucs as dogs. So, but regardless, if I have like a team that's won 10 in a row, like the Buccaneers have versus the Rams, who have some fantastic players, they're well coached. but also their new quarterback, their prize possession. He's only been in that system for 2 games now. So I'm going to be very happy laying my money on the Buccaneers money line. I feel confident in that. At least, I can live with them if they lose that game is what I'm saying.
What's going on with what's the availability of Antonio Brown and JPP?
Yeah, they're both going to be out. It looks like JPP.
Both out. Okay.
Yeah, JPP has it's kind of like a mysterious thing. I think it's his ankle or maybe his knee. I forget, but it just kind of under the radar. Turned his like Instagram story was him like flying out to go get some tests done. So not ideal. Hopefully he's okay, and this can be something that's resolved pretty quickly or not as serious as it potentially could be. Thankfully, we got Joe Tryon-Shoyinka.
Yeah, those are your 2 deepest groups, right? So.
Yeah. Talent. We have 3 amazing edge rushers, and Anthony Nelson's a guy that the Bucs have been really pleased with this year as well, who's been in the system for a while. But I'm looking forward to seeing Joe Tryon rush the passer next week. That's for sure. But anyway, and AB it looks like will be out more than likely.
Yeah. That hurts, eh?
Yeah,
it does.
It does, but that is undoubtedly our deepest position, potentially the deepest position for any NFL team. So yeah. That's not changing my like optimism regarding the game in general.
I told what you just said about you're kind of willing to lose this one, or you're willing to put up a little bit of money on it just to see. Like, I get that. You know what I mean? I see where you're coming from there. Stay away game. This is a perfect example of a game where I'd like to watch maybe a series or 2 of each team, see what the flow of the game's like. I think it's going to be an absolutely incredible game. I think it's the NFC Championship game preview. I know that's 4 months away, but I think they're the 2 best teams. I think this line is going to keep flip-flopping between 1.5 and a pick 'em on either side of the ledger, right? So, Colin, if you got them money line when it was plus 1.5, then hey, every little bit of value helps in a pick 'em game or a coin flip game like this, right? So, I'm gonna, like I said, this would be an in-play spot for me, one way or the other. But what a game! What an absolutely fantastic game. Be super interesting to see what the crowd is like in LA for this one.
Yeah, can't wait to just watch this game go down. It's one of those games, though. I'm not going to be worrying about the in game. I just want to have my bets in place and just have them in the back of my mind, but just watch this football game too. So
fair enough.
For me, it's obviously a bit of a different situation than you. I totally get your angle there, though. It makes perfect sense. I'm also on Tom Brady over 2.5 passing touchdowns. Bowden and I have been texting about this all week. I'm taking it at plus 165. He had 4.
How do you not? How do you not now?
It's too juicy. Plus 165 in a game where they have an unreliable running attack. They have all these weapons in the receiving game. They are not afraid to pass the ball from 2 yards away from the goal line. I mean, it seems like a no-brainer. I hit it week 1, and I regret not taking it last week.
Yeah, last week was good.
It was a lot less juicy last week, but juicy, but less juicy.
It's the juice comes off like as it goes along, right? Like I got it at 165 plus 165 as well too. But what is it at right now? It's down to plus 140.
Okay, there you go. Yeah,
that's still betting. Yeah, I still go get that if you can.
Yeah, that is absolutely catnip for the public. Tom Brady over touchdowns in a big game. Like, of course, that's going to be hammered. So the fact that you guys got that better number at plus 165, I wish I joined you on that because honestly, another one where, he's only done it for however many straight weeks. There's a very good chance they're scoring 4 touchdowns, right? Even against a Rams defense. And I think that's one you're just willing to ride with for sure.
Yeah.
We talked about it on Monday, but it seems like Bruce is in on the idea of, hey, we need to get Tom as many touchdown passes as possible this season. It's been the best player prop in football.
They're better passing the ball. They're better passing the ball.
And Arians doesn't like either of the running backs. Did we just get a comment saying Fournette's going to have a big day?
Well, I want to comment on this because I think Fournette has established himself amongst the running backs or getting close to doing it. So Vernon Swango Jr. on Facebook does believe Fournette's going to have a big day. I actually really like, and I've already bet this, Fournette over 3.5 receptions at plus 110. He's surpassed that mark both games so far. So I think 4 receptions is a super reasonable target for him. And not to mention, if anything, he has only distanced himself from Ronald Jones and Giovanni Bernard in terms of the workload with all of Rojo's struggles that we've talked about. So I like him getting 4 catches this week. I've bet that at a plus number. Bo, did you bet it or no?
I didn't get Fournette. No, I didn't jump on Fournette. I'm still wary with the running back situation. I don't know what's going to happen. So
would not
you've
want
got
to
a better
have
feeling
any
on that than
money.
me.
Yeah, Bo, I'm with you. I would not want to have any money on their running back situation at all. Not until it crystallizes in the next couple weeks.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, he's hit that number twice in both games this year in terms of receptions. We're talking specifically receptions.
Yeah,
he's surpassed that both games, and if anything, it's more clear than it was. That's my rationale. So it's a pretty specific bet. I'm not saying Fournette's going to tear it up like our friend Vernon Swango, but I hope he does.
Yeah,
I'm on Chris Godwin over 5.5 receptions. I got about plus 100. It's down to minus 115 now. So he didn't hit it last week, but against Dallas, he had 14 targets and 9 receptions. I could see the idea being that, hey, we need to score a lot of points to keep the Rams at bay, and we got a comment coming in saying the Rams have a pretty good streak going on as well with keeping teams under 30. But yeah, I just feel like Godwin's going to get a ton of looks, especially with AB out. He's just going to be all over that field, and Brady's going to find him. So
I love it, Bo, especially with AB out. I'm on Godwin over 71.5 receiving yards. I don't know how many catches it'll take for him to do it. I like both of the bets. Like if I do well at the 1 o'clock games, I'm going to hopefully have both of those because I like them both, especially with AB out. It's his most reliable target, Godwin. It's a good bet.
From a Rams perspective, would you consider looking at Robert Woods, knowing that Kupp is probably going to be the primary guy to take away from the Bucs side? I don't know. I just the Rams are going to be throwing the ball, and Woods and Kupp are both very good. So I just more asking from the Bucs fans side.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's a great question. I totally like Robert Woods is at 5.5 receptions. I don't know about that one. Like we'll see. He hasn't been getting a ton of love, but again, I think he's due for a player that talented. And like what you're saying, Kupp's going to be the biggest concern. That's probably where Carlton Davis will spend most of his time.
Kupp is so good.
Yeah, he's
sorry,
really good.
I know he's
really
so good. And him and Stafford have a connection right away.
Yeah. And Robert Woods, so Kupp's almost 20 yards more receiving yards.
Yeah.
He's projected for 84.5, whereas Robert Woods is 65.5. So that's definitely where the value would be there. I think he's due to have a game like that, as I mentioned. But you know what's funny, Cap, about when you bring up Cooper Kupp and how good he is? Him and Godwin were drafted in the same draft, and they are hands down the most productive receivers in that draft. They're like neck and neck in like yardage, touchdowns. So it's actually kind of a cool little subplot, the battle between those two. Interesting.
I'd be jumping on if I was going on the Rams side. I'd be jumping on Tyler Higbee. I think if I'm the Rams, I kind of want to attack the middle of the field, trying to make the linebackers cover. Tyler Higbee receptions is at 4.5 over for plus 120. He hasn't hit that this year, but I think this is kind of the matchup where if I'm Matt Stafford, I kind of want to zone in on Tyler Higbee, if anyone.
Because you think they're going to zone in on Devin White? Well, we'll see if he matches up with Levante, how that goes.
But hopefully he gets to Devin White.
Okay, last game, boys. We are getting dangerously close to ending or to running out of time here. Does anyone have any action on the Packers and Niners? I'm going to give you like 30 seconds if you do.
No, but if I was going to pick a side, I'd pick the Niners. I feel like the Niners
They've
own
owned
the Packers. Yeah.
Right.
So, yeah. -3. I don't love it, but I'd be looking at that money line. I'd also be looking at that in game as well too.
Awesome. Okay, and I'm just going to summarize quickly what I'm on for my player props. I'm on Kyle Pitts over 52.5 receiving yards. I'm on Saquon, much to Scott's dismay, over 61.5 rushing yards. We'll revisit that debate on Monday. I'm on Eckler over 5.5 receptions at plus 120. I am on Diggs over 78.5 receiving yards, minus 110. I think he's due. I'm going to give Antonio Gibson a shot at 60.5 rushing yards. He's a good player. I think they need him to do well in Orchard Park, and I think he could potentially meet that mark pretty easily. Well, we'll see. Maybe not easily, but it could happen. I'm on Brady over 2.5 passing touchdowns at plus 165. I'm on Fournette over 3.5 receptions, and I'm on Godwin over 71.5 receiving yards. Those are my player props for this weekend. We'll see how I do. Do any of you want to summarize any of your favorite bets before we head out of here?
Yeah, sure. I've got Sterling Shepard over 5.5 receptions at plus 130, down to plus 115 now, but I still think that's got to hit that if you can. Devin Singletary over 49.5 yards rushing, minus 110. Josh Allen over 36.5 yards rushing, minus 105. Allen Robinson over 58.5 yards receiving yards at minus 110, and over 4.5 receptions. Alvin Kamara over 4.5 receptions at plus 130, down to minus 110 now. Still think that's a good one to take, but those are the ones that I'm really locking in on.
Love it. Real quick, Cap, you want to share what you're liking?
Yep. So the Giants at minus 2.5. Washington, like I said, I got it at plus 8.5. Not to brag, but pretty good number. If you can get it at 7.5, I would definitely take a look at that. I'm with Bo on Kamara over 4.5 catches. Clyde Edwards-Helaire under 57.5 rushing yards, and Daniel Jones over 26.5 rushing yards in that one.
There you have it, folks. The Bucs Banter weekly best bets for week 3. We'll see how we do. We'll be back on the Bucs Report airwaves on Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern time. Hopefully that'll be a victory Monday for Buccaneers fans. Can't wait to talk to you then. Until next time, go Bucs.